Hi, I'm Edmund Wist, founder of Cybersecurity Cyborg and creator of ARIA. And today I'd like to just take a few moments to go over how ARIA works with LLM model provisioning. Basically what this means is ARIA is a bring your own keys platform, meaning we do not develop and deliver large language models. We create a harness for you accessing multiple and using them to do your work and your workflows and even inform your agents. So with that in mind, I'm going to go over how we do LLM provisioning. We try to support as many models as possible and adapt them in meaningful ways. To get to your providers from the base setup, you can go up to your account and go to providers, and that will take you directly to the providers list. But even under, I think, integrations, since it is an integration, you can click on AI models and that will bring you to the same place. As a default, you really can't chat or create a chat session without at least one provider for inference. And so we strongly encourage you in your onboarding workflow to configure one. If you have not, you will have a blank page here and you can type in the name or the friendly name that you want to use for that provider, and then you want to identify the provider. We do have custom OpenAI compatible kind of MCP APIs if you have a custom model, but generally you can use any one of these standard formats, and then each one of them have a way to provide an API key. You may have a subscription to one of them, and so you want to utilize that existing subscription, and we show you where do I find this. In that section we can show you where and how you gain access to an API key. It's important to note for your security that if you ever stop using ARIA or you don't want it or anyone to have access to it, you can revoke that key, and thus preventing all access to your AI subscriptions and models. Once you've added those providers, you can then click on the refresh, and that will go out and find all the locally or all the readily available models by that provider for large language inference. I say that because there is a lot of these model providers via their API keys also offer image generation and search, which we do provide configurations for image generation and search, but I just want to focus on providers for LLM inference. That being said, once we have all the models loaded, you can then go into your chat interfaces and start interfacing with them. Right now, Claude Opus 4.5 is loaded into this session, but you can clearly see all of the providers that we have provisioned. We can then configure their individual models, and then if you want to do a compare on the Claude Opus output for the first 15 presidents of the United States, I could go ahead and ask ChatGPT as well as Gemini for their take on what they believe the first 15 presidents are. So that kind of gives you an idea of how we are managing and interacting with LLMs, at least for the chat sessions and inferences. And then you can also see that this then provisioning transfers to how you conduct workflows. In this workflow for email triage or whatever, you need some kind of LLM model to infer based off of what's in your inbox, and then you can even let ARIA choose, which will eventually develop more intelligence to that, where it may pick the best, more economical. You can tailor that, but you can see we have all the models that we've provisioned within ARIA. And so that's extensible across all the interfaces. Even the agentic activities can utilize different models, even change them out depending on what you have provisioned in the API keys and the security that you have on them. So I hope that kind of gives you an understanding of how we are interacting with LLMs, how we're provisioning them. Because I know that that is often a barrier to really getting value out of ARIA, is to really understand how you're using LLMs and like what's the big difference between this and just going to chatgtp.com. So I hope that helped out, and if you have any questions, post them in as comments on this video. Thanks a lot.